Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are completely abandoning the modern world. We are turning off the notifications, forgetting about the emails, and dropping straight into a landscape that is really defined by three things: bronze, blood, and snow.
Mm.
We are looking at the opening movements of David Gemmell's Troy, Fall of Kings.
Mm.
And I know what you might be thinking. You're thinking, okay, Troy, I know this. Brad Pitt, wooden horse, Helen on the wall.
All right.
I need you to take that thought and just pause it.
Right. Pause it, or better yet, delete it. Because this isn't the shiny marble statue version of the Trojan War that we got in high school mythology class. This is Gemmell.
It is.
It is gritty. It is visceral. It is a world where the heroes are tired, their joints ache, the kings are cruel, and the prophecies aren't just, poetic little riddles. They are terrifying political realities that get people killed.
It really is a different beast. We are unpacking a complex web of betrayals, secret histories, and this sense of impending doom today. We have a stack of source material that covers the prologue and the first few chapters, and honestly, the amount of tension Gemmell packs into these opening pages is it's incredible.
It really is.
It feels less like a fantasy novel and more like a historical thriller.
It sets the stage for the end of an era. And the mission for this deep dive is to understand the forces gathering before the famous war even kicks into high gear.
Right.
But what's unique here, and what I think you really need to lock onto, is the perspective. We aren't starting with Achilles sulking in a tent.
No.
We aren't starting with Paris stealing Helen. We're starting with unwanted daughters, aging kings dealing with impotence and regret, and fugitives hiding in a cave who are just trying to survive the next sunrise.
That's the vibe I love about this. It's about the people caught in the gears of history. So let's orient ourselves geographically before we get into the characters, because we are bouncing all over the map.
All over, yeah.
We are crossing the Great Green, the Mediterranean. We go from the snow-covered mountains of Thebes under Plakos, which is a neighbor, to Troy, all the way over to the beaches of Ithaca, and then to a desolate little pirate island called Lion's Head.
And tying all these locations together are three massive themes we need to trace. First, the sheer weight of prophecy, how it shapes the lives of children before they even, take their first breath.
Yeah.
Second, the cruelty of leadership, specifically dissecting Agamemnon, the king of Mycene. And finally, a concept that haunts the backstory of this entire book, the lion's justice.
The lion's justice. It sounds noble, doesn't it? Like something you'd put on a royal crest.
It sounds noble. It is anything but. It is the rot at the center of the Mycenae alliance. It is, it's the trauma that drives our main characters.
We will definitely get to that dark little piece of history in a bit. But first, let's rewind. We have to start where the book starts, the prologue.
Okay.
We are in Thebes under Plakos. It's night. It's snowing. And the atmosphere isn't just cold, it's oppressive.
It's heavy. Gemmell is very specific with his sensory details here to establish the mood. The wind is hissing through narrow streets. You have owls hooting.
Right, which is a bad omen.
It's a massive bad omen. For us, an owl is just a bird. Maybe it reminds you of wisdom or Harry Potter. But in this culture, in this context, it's a harbinger of death. And inside the palace, Queen Electra is in a very difficult, life-threatening labor.
And what I find interesting is our point of view character here. It's not the anxious father. It's not a loving handmaiden. It's a guy named Herakleitos. He's a Trojan ambassador. And I have to say, I appreciate this guy's internal monologue because he's so devastatingly cynical.
He is the necessary grounding wire for the fantasy. He anchors us in reality. He's so pragmatic, it's almost funny.
He is. He's standing in a freezing corridor. The queen is screaming in pain inside the room, and he isn't worried about her soul or the baby. He's just thinking, my feet are numb, and if she dies, the funeral is really going to delay my trip home.
Herakleitos is the perfect lens for the listener here because he represents the secular political reality of the world. He's not there for the drama. He's there for trade routes.
Exactly.
He's there to secure treaties for King Priam. He doesn't care about the baby. He's annoyed that biology is interfering with commerce. He is pure pragmatism in a world that is about to become very mystical. He's thinking about the mountain passes being blocked by snow, not about the will of the gods.
Until the mysticism walks through the door. Or rather, storms through the door.
Right. The priestess of Athene. She enters the scene like a force of nature. She's described as hawk-faced with a mane of uncombed white hair. She has this staff and a robe with an owl embroidered on it.
Oh, wow.
And what I love is the contrast Gemmell sets up here. The doctors and the priests of Asclepios, the men of science and established religion, are failing.
They're useless.
They're dithering. The queen is dying. The priestess just marches in, calls the priest an idiot, and takes over.
There is a distinct shift in power dynamics there. The establishment is useless. This primal, almost wild force is what's effective.
Totally. She effectively kicks everyone out and delivers the baby. But this is where the conflict, the thematic conflict of the whole book kicks in. This deep dive is really about names and what they mean.
It really is.
The baby is born, and she has a birthmark. A very specific, very loaded birthmark.
Where is it?
It's on her head, close to the crown. It's a red circle, a shield, with a jagged white line running through it like lightning.
The Shield of Thunder.
Exactly. The priestess identifies this immediately as the mark of Athene. And because of this mark, the priestess and the dying queen give the child a name.
Palest. Let's drill down on that. Palest. What does that signify? Why does that name matter so much?
In the context of the prophecy, it links her directly to the goddess. It's a divine name. It sets her destiny as something holy, something protected by Athene. The prophecy goes, "Beneath the shield of thunder waits the eagle child." It's a heavy, heavy destiny to put on an infant. It essentially says, this child belongs to the gods, not to men.
So her purpose is already written? It supersedes anything her family might want for her.
Precisely. It implies she has a purpose that supersedes the political ambitions of her father.
But then the men arrive.
Yeah.
Specifically, Dad comes home.
Yeah.
King Action returns from the war. He misses the birth, he misses the prophecy, and he walks in, still in his battle armor, smelling of horse and sweat. He puts his finger in the baby's hand, she squeezes it, and he laughs. What does he say?
He looks at this tiny infant and says, "She has the strength of a man. We shall name her Andromache."
And just like that, the name Palest is erased. Or at least he thinks it is.
It's a fascinating moment of conflict between religious destiny and patriarchal secular power. It's so stark. The mother and the priestess see the spiritual significance Palest.
The divine mark.
The father sees a strong physical attribute, a grip, and names her essentially man-fighter or battle of man Andromache. He dismisses the divine name completely. He says, the name Palest can wait.
The name Palest can wait. That feels like famous last words. It's hubris, isn't it?
It is absolute hubris. Because names have power in this world. By ignoring the goddess's name, he's trying to normalize her, to bring her into his world of kings and wars.
Right, he wants to control her destiny.
He wants a daughter who fits into his political structure, not a daughter who belongs to a goddess. He thinks he can just veto destiny because he's a king.
But the source material gives us a massive twist immediately after this. We don't just stay in that room. We jump forward 19 years.
Yeah, a great narrative device.
We see the consequences of that moment.
Yeah.
Heraclitus, our typical ambassador friend, is now an old man. He's dying in Troy. He's had a good life, made a lot of money, secured his trade routes. But on his deathbed, he gets a visitor. And it's not a friendly visit.
It's Queen Hecate of Troy, King Priam's wife. And Gemmell describes her as fierce and ruthless. She doesn't offer him water. She doesn't smooth his pillow. She leans over this dying man and demands to know about that night in Thebes 19 years ago.
She doesn't ask, how is the girl Andromache? Or, is she a good match for my son Hector?
No, not at all. She asks specifically about the Shield of Thunder. She asks if he saw the birthmark, and she demands the name. Not the name everyone knows, but the secret name.
The name that was supposed to wait.
The one he buried. And Heraclitus, through the fog of death, remembers Palest.
That revelation changes everything. I mean, for the listener, it just sends a chill down your spine. It tells us that for 19 years, while Andromache has been growing up thinking she's just a princess, the Queen of Troy has been watching or waiting or fearing this prophecy. The name Palest didn't disappear just because her father ignored it. It just went underground. And now Hecate is hunting for it.
It raises the stakes immediately. It tells us that this isn't just a story about armies clashing. It's about these deep, mystical undercurrents that the powerful people are terrified of.
Yeah.
It suggests that the Trojan War might not just be about Helen or trade routes, but about preventing or fulfilling something much darker tied to this girl.
And that dread.
Yeah.
That sense of something darker approaching.
Yeah.
That transitions us perfectly to the next location. We leave the claustrophobia of the deathbed and the snow, and we go to the beach. We go to Ithaca.
Home of Odysseus.
Home of the man, the myth, the legend Odysseus. But again, this isn't the Odysseus we might expect from pop culture. He's not outsmarting Cyclopses just yet. Well, actually he has, but we'll get to that.
Right.
We see him through the eyes of his wife, Penelope. And this portrait of Penelope really stood out to me in the notes.
This is one of the most poignant character studies in the source material. Penelope is sitting on the beach, watching the ships. She's described as having a gentle sadness. She feels like the old ship, the Penelope, that Odysseus refuses to retire.
That metaphor hit me hard. She looks at the ship. It's old, recalked, painted over, but the timbers are tired. And she thinks, I am that ship. She's graying. Her fertility is fading.
Yeah.
She knows she can't give him more sons. It's a very human moment in a mythic story. It's about aging and feeling used up.
It is about aging, but it's also about understanding your role. She knows her husband better than he knows himself. She knows he loves her, but she also knows he loves the great green, the Seymour.
There's that line.
Yeah, there's this beautiful, painful moment where she remembers him telling her, the pain of your absence will be a constant dagger wound in my heart. And she smiles because she knows he's being dramatic.
She knows he's full of it. I mean, he means it in the moment, but she knows the second he gets on that boat, he's happy.
Exactly. The text says he attacks the day like an enemy. He's loud, barrel-chested, shouting at his crew. He's a force of chaos.
And she is the anchor. But she's holding on to a secret that is much darker than his little dramatic speeches. She has a prophecy of her own.
The prophecy of the gulls.
Yeah, no, usually in these myths, you look for eagles or swans, right? Those are the noble birds, the signs from Zeus.
Correct. In the text, she notes that 5 swallows mean a safe journey, 2 swans mean good fortune, and an eagle means victory. Those are the standard omens she looks for. But she has dreamed of seagulls.
And Odysseus would laugh at that. He'd say, gulls are trash birds, they're scavengers, they're stupid.
He would. But her dream is terrifying. She sees a colossal flock of gulls blotting out the sun. She calls it a black wind rising.
Black wind rising.
And she senses that this isn't just about a storm or a bad trade deal. This black wind brings death and the end of worlds.
That phrase, a black wind rising, is actually the title of chapter 1, so you know it's important. It suggests that whatever is coming for Troy isn't just a war, it's a cataclysm. And speaking of the war, we get our first look at the politics behind it. Right here on the beach, Nestor is visiting.
King Nestor of Pylos. He's the old, wise statesman. And the contrast is, great Odysseus is storming around, loud and brash, hiding a core of bronze and horn beneath his smile. And Nestor is just this calm, gray presence. But Nestor brings bad news. He's come from Sparta, from a meeting with Agamemnon, the king of Mycene.
This is where we start to see the shape of the villain, Agamemnon. Everyone knows he wants to attack Troy, but why? Is it just for land? Is it just for gold?
It's much more complex and much more petty than that.
Petty is a good word for it.
On the surface, Agamemnon talks about alliances and peace in the West, but Nestor makes it clear Agamemnon is obsessed. It's a personal vendetta masked as politics.
What's the line he uses? Something about his ego.
Nestor says his ego is colossal. What touches Agamemnon touches the world.
Wow, that is a dangerous quality in a leader. Narcissism with an army.
Extremely dangerous. Agamemnon feels humiliated because of a past event involving a Trojan hero named Helikaon and a traitor named Argurios. Because he was thwarted, he wants to burn Troy to the ground to fix his bruised ego. And he wants all the Western kings, Nestor, Odysseus, everyone to join him.
And Odysseus is having none of it. He claims neutrality. He says, I don't need Agamemnon, I'm rich.
And this is a great little detail for the mythology fans. Nestor asks, where is this gold coming from? And Odysseus says he found the 7 hills on the edge of the world, guarded by one-eyed giants.
He's robbing the Cyclops. That's amazing.
Exactly. He's already done the Odyssey stuff, or at least the Cyclops part, before the Iliad stuff starts in this timeline. It's a really cool inversion. He's funding his neutrality with Cyclops gold.
But Nestor warns him. He says that's not going to work.
He does. He warns him. With Agamemnon, you are either friend or foe. Neutrality isn't an option when the king of Mycene wants a war. Agamemnon doesn't accept no.
This conversation is so crucial because it leads us into the dark backstory I mentioned earlier, the lion's justice. They start talking about why Agamemnon hates Troy so much, and the name Argurios keeps coming up. Odysseus calls him an unpleasant man, but a great warrior.
We have to reconstruct this event because it hangs over every character in the book. It is the trauma at the center of the narrative. It explains why Agamemnon is terrifying and why our heroes are broken.
So what happened? Break it down for us.
Okay, so years ago, Agamemnon tried a sneak attack on Troy. He sent his elite troops, but he didn't lead them himself. He put a general in charge named Kalliades.
Kalliades, who Binocles later describes as a gutless, goat-shagging lump of cow turd.
A colorful and apparently accurate description, according to the text. Kalliades was a political appointee, a coward. He wasn't there because he was competent. He was there because Agamemnon liked him.
Nepotism.
Exactly. The plan relied on the Trojan hero Hector being dead. But Hector wasn't dead. The Mycenaean troops were trapped. They walked right into an ambush.
And this is where Agurios comes in. He was a Mycenaean legend, but he defected.
He did. He had been declared an outlaw by Agamemnon previously, stripped of his lands, another example of Agamemnon's pettiness. He had no loyalty left to the man.
I see.
In Troy, he fought against his own people to defend King Priam. He held a stairway against the Mycenaean onslaught. He saved the Trojan royal family. He slaughtered his former comrades to save his enemies because he believed Agamemnon was unjust.
Wow. So the Mycenaean raid fails completely. And King Priam of Troy does something intense, something that defines him as a different kind of ruthless compared to Agamemnon.
It's a moment of psychological warfare. It's brilliant in its cruelty. Priam spares the surviving Mycenaean soldiers. He lets them go home. But he sets one condition.
What's that?
They have to take their cowardly general Kalliades with them.
Why? Why would he do that?
Because Priam wants to hear him scream. He wants the shame of their failure to be paid for in blood by them, not by him.
And does he? Does he get his scream?
The text says the survivors hacked Kalliades to pieces on the boat before they even left the harbor. Priam heard the scream. It was his revenge for the treachery.
That is brutal. It's savage. But what happens next is even worse.
So much worse.
These soldiers return to Mycenae, defeated, having killed their own commander. And Agamemnon is waiting for them.
This is the night of the lion's justice. Agamemnon doesn't forgive them. He doesn't hold a trial. He doesn't listen to their side of the story. He murders them.
All of them.
He executes 40 of his own elite warriors, men who fought for him, men who survived the hell of Troy because they failed and because they killed his political favorite, Kalliades.
Talk about toxic leadership. That's not justice. That's a purge. It creates a culture of fear, not loyalty.
Exactly. And this is the event that creates our main protagonists for this deep dive. Because two men escaped that purge.
Kalliades and Binocles.
Kalliades and Binocles, they are the survivors of the lion's justice. They saw their friends butchered by their own king. And this brings us to segment 4, the core narrative of these chapters. We find them hiding out on a tiny island called Lion's Head.
I love this duo. They are the classic buddy cop dynamic, but in ancient Greece.
They really are.
But they aren't just tropes. They feel real. Let's break them down. Kalliades.
Kalliades is the planner. He's the thinker. He's young, about 25, but he's a 10-year veteran. He's scarred, cynical, and haunted by the betrayal.
And he has Argurio's sword.
He carries the sword of Argurios, which is a huge symbol. He's the brooding intellectual of the pair. He thinks about the flax fields. He thinks about right and wrong. He's the one who feels the weight of the lion's justice every single day.
And then there's Binocles, my favorite.
Binocles is the joy of the book. He's huge, blonde, bearded. He loves food, wine, and women. He's crude, but he is fiercely, terrifyingly loyal. He provides the dark humor. While Kalliades is worrying about their impending death, Binocles complaining that he's hungry and cold.
There's that scene where he's having a pissing contest against a tree, literally, just to annoy the woman they rescued.
It establishes his character perfectly. He's earthy, he's alive, he refuses to let the gloom of their situation crush his spirit. But don't mistake that crudeness for stupidity. He's a survivor, he's a killer, he just chooses to laugh at the absurdity of it all.
So let's talk about their situation. They are disguised as pirates, serving on a pirate crew to hide from Agamemnon's bounty hunters. But then, they blow their cover. Why?
Because of a girl. They witness their pirate comrades capturing a small boat. The pilot is a woman. The pirates capture her. They rape her, and they plan to kill her.
And Kalliades and Binocles, who are supposed to be laying low, who are supposed to be invisible, they can't stomach it.
This is a pivotal moment for understanding their morality. They are fugitives. They are scum, as they call themselves. But they have a code.
Yeah, a line they won't cross.
They watch this brutality, and they decide, no. They turn on their own crew. They kill 4 men to save this woman they don't even know.
And they retreat to a cave. Now they're trapped on an island with a pirate fleet. 60 men waking up the next morning wanting revenge?
And they have one injured woman with them. Let's talk about her. She gives the name Pyria, which is a childhood nickname.
Right.
But the source material makes it clear she is high-born.
How do they know?
Kalliades notices she walks like a dancer, with her head high. She has a bearing that doesn't fit the story she tells. She's not a slave or a commoner.
She's tough, too. The text reveals she killed the pirate captain, Aurelos, with his own dagger after he raped her.
She's incredibly resilient. There's a powerful scene in the cave where she takes a dagger not to kill herself, but to cut off her hair.
What's the significance of that?
It's a symbolic shedding of her past identity. She's traumatized, angry, and terrified, but she refuses to be a victim. She sheds the princess or noble persona and becomes a survivor, just like them.
There is a quiet moment in the middle of this chaos that I really want to highlight, the flax field.
Oh, yes. This is a masterful bit of pacing by Gemmell. It's so beautiful.
Tell us about it.
They are waiting for the sun to rise, waiting to die, essentially. And they look out at a field of blue flax flowers. Peoria asks about them, and Kalliades starts explaining the process of making linen.
It seems so random. He's talking about retting the stems, beating them with hammers, the hackling combs. Why include this textbook description of linen production right before a battle?
Because it grounds them. It reminds them of a world outside of killing. Kalliades remembers his childhood in Pylos. It contrasts the peaceful, productive world of agriculture and creation with the destructive world of war they are trapped in.
It humanizes him.
It completely humanizes him. He's not just a killing machine. He's a man who remembers sitting in the sun processing flax. It underscores the tragedy that men like this are forced to be killers because of kings like Agamemnon. It shows us what he lost.
It creates this bond between them, too. Peoria realizes that despite Banacles being a brute, Kalliades has a soul. He gave his oath to protect her, and he means it.
And Banacles, in his own way, respects that bond. He reveals he was wounded by Argurios during the war. The sword went right through his arm, but he speaks of Argurios with total reverence, the greatest Mycenaean warrior of all.
It's so interesting that the traitor is the hero to the common soldiers.
That is the subversive message of these chapters right there. The king calls Argurios a traitor. The soldiers call him the greatest. The king calls himself the lion of justice. The soldiers know he's a murderer who kills his own men.
The moral compass of this world is completely inverted. The heroes are the outlaws in the cave. The villains are in the palaces.
So we reach the cliffhanger. Segment 5, the approaching storm. The sun is coming up. They are on the island. There are 2 ships and 60 angry pirates down on the beach. The tactical situation is hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Banacles does the math. He figures between the 2 of them, they can kill maybe 7 or 8 before they're overwhelmed.
And his reaction, is he scared? Does he panic?
No. His reaction is, I might as well sleep them.
Unbelievable.
It's the fatalism of the professional soldier. He knows he's going to die, so he wants to be rested for it. Kalliades stays awake, keeping watch, and Peoria is steeling herself, holding that dagger.
It asks the question, why do they do it? Banacles even says, the women meant nothing to us. Why throw away their lives for a stranger?
I think it comes down to fatigue. They are tired of running. They are tired of pretending to be pirates. They are tired of the dishonor that Agamemnon forced upon them.
So this was a way to reclaim something.
Exactly. Saving Peoria was a way to reclaim their identity as warriors, not fugitives. It was an act of defiance. If they are going to die, they are going to die doing something right for once.
It's better to die a hero in a cave than live as a rat on a pirate ship.
Precisely. It's the reclaiming of the soul before the death of the body, a choice they finally get to make for themselves.
So let's synthesize all of this. We have 3 distinct threads moving here, and they feel like they're about to crash into each other.
We do. In the east, in Troy, we have the Shield of Thunder, a prophecy about a girl named Peleste or Andromache that the Queen of Troy is terrified of.
Thread 1, the divine threat.
Thread 2. In the west, in Ithaca, we have the Black Wind, a doom prophecy that Penelope sees coming, driven by Agamemnon's insane desire for war.
The political threat.
And thread 3. In the middle, on this tiny island, we have 2 fugitives and a runaway noblewoman starting their own small war against the world.
The personal human story.
And all of these threads are converging. The Black Wind isn't just a metaphor. It feels like the narrative force pushing all these people together.
And what stands out to me is the helplessness of the powerful and the power of the helpless.
Say more about that. That's a great point.
Well, King Action thinks he can ignore the prophecy by changing his daughter's name. He can't. Agamemnon thinks he can control the narrative by murdering his soldiers, but he just creates enemies who will eventually undermine him. Meanwhile, these 2 nobodies in a cave are displaying more honor and courage than all the kings combined. They have agency in a way that kings who are bound by ego and fear don't.
That's it. That is the thought I want to leave our listeners with in Troy. Fall of Kings, heroism isn't about shiny armor or divine favor. It's not about being a king. It's about standing between a helpless person and a sword, even when the math says you're going to lose.
And knowing that even if the black wind blows the world apart, you stood your ground. You kept your name, the one you chose for yourself.
Your honor.
The pirates are coming up the hill. The sun is rising over the flax fields. And we will have to wait for the next deep dive to see who survives the morning. Thanks for listening.
Until next time.